Hey guys, welcome back to Contest Prep University. I'm Joe Klemczewski with Adam Atkinson, and we're still moving right through our series on competition as a master. And we're going to move into training and cardio. We just finished up talking last time about nutrition, and I'm going to just go right on the record, Adam, as saying that training as we get older, just as we left off in the last episode, should continue probably as normal as ever, but with the understanding that I never wanted to believe this 20 or 30 years ago with recovery being a little bit more difficult, but I would say most of that is probably just due to cumulative injury. So I sometimes train even a little bit more frequently now, but I'm probably down 20 to 30% in the weight I use in some of the major lifts. So I don't know if it's that I'm just physically taxing myself a little bit less, and so I can train with a little bit more frequency. But what do you see in the average masters competitor? How far can they push themselves with training cardio, and where do you say you really need to be careful?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing is getting a effective volume. So just like you said, I'm using less weight, but I'm working out more frequency. You're probably hitting the same amount of volume as you did prior. It's just broken up a little more throughout the week. And this allows you just to recover better than if you're pushing like so much volume on one day. You just might be incredibly sore, or maybe even risk that brink point of injury, which, you definitely want to avoid, because when you're older, it just takes you longer to recover and it's easier to get injured. One thing I think specifically with women, you have to be careful of potential, osteoarthritis or even bone density issues. So that's something always to pay attention to. You don't want to be doing a bunch of plyometrics if your bone density is at risk. So that's something to really pay attention to. But I agree with you. Maybe more frequency, but less volume on those days, so it adds up to a nice accumulation of volume over the week.
Yeah, and I do see that, it's not even so much that it takes longer to recover histologically, but because of some injuries we've had, like for example, I have zero hyaline cartilage on one of the femoral condyles in my right knee. Long-term injury, but finally just kind of cracked and exploded, had that taken out. Probably have some labral tears or small rotator cuff tendon tears in my shoulders. The things that you kind of feel once in a while when you're younger, and then all of a sudden, after 20, 30 years of training, it's like it's always that, quote, one spot, that one shoulder, that one elbow. And, first of all, diagnostically, if you guys know what you're dealing with, that's helpful. But I would say that when you have those cumulative trauma injuries or just injuries over time, things that may not have needed to be surgically repaired, frequency can be an issue. So sometimes it is important to get some good intensity, but then you're not going to do that same thing. You're not going to do the same high intensity cardio every single day. You need to make sure you got the time between sessions to recover. So that's one thing I see a lot of masters competitors unduly get hit with, is just they get some kind of a snag in a shoulder, a knee, a back, or a neck, and then they just can't recover from it because they were just hitting it way too hard, way too frequently without enough time to recover.
I think also too, meeting people where they are and trying to understand how they feel. I get tons of people that say, even young people, my knees hurt when I squat. So mechanically, I want to see what that looks like, because it might not even be their age. It's just their body mechanics are awful. And we see a lot of that. And also, too, I think I get a lot of clients who I think a lot of their injuries were just bypassed by their trainer because they were young and they just don't understand, people hurt when they get older. And everyone's pain tolerance is just going to be a little different, and trying to teach people the difference between, good soreness and bad soreness. And that can be a really delicate area.
Right. And, I'm a physical therapist. That was my first career. And so I don't know if a lot of people understand how, as we get older, you get some little osteophyte complexes, bone spurs, could be in your acromial joints. It could be in your spine, tendons thin a little bit, things like what happened to my knees over time due to injury or just wear and tear. And so if you don't pay attention to that, then exactly what you said could be the case, where somebody thinks, well, I have to squat, or I have to deadlift, or I have to do this. And, that ship just may have sailed. It's great to just stay in the lane that you can stay in and still get that kind of volume. You said it perfectly, where, you may need to do a little bit more cardio, a little bit lower volume, frequency can be, a little higher, whatever, just to stay moving. But you really, have to know your own body, and that's what it comes down to. So hope that helps, guys. We're going to wrap up with just a couple more episodes in this series, talking about what it's like to compete as a master.